Welcome to LATV and Neighborhood Snapshot. My name is Bob Sardelli. I am a member of the Leominster Historical Commission. Our guests today should look familiar to the LATV audience. We're pleased to welcome Mr. Angelo Gavita and his daughter Deborah Toman. Today's program is connected to all of Leominster's neighborhoods, for it is the story of the American dream, the realization of the promise of the United States of America as truly the land of opportunity. As I mentioned in our first program, unless you are a Native American Indian or a descendant of a Native American Indian, you and I must trace our roots to somewhere other than the Americas, both North and South America. And even the Indians, the Native Americans, emigrated from somewhere else in the world in prehistoric times. One of the strengths of our great country is that we are a nation of immigrants. And in today's program, we will continue the story of one of those individuals for whom the United States of America is truly the land of opportunity. Welcome again, Angelo. And
Thank
Debbie.
you, Bob.
Angelo, a little for the benefit of the viewing audience who may not have seen the first program, we want to recap a little bit. You are a gentleman of 78 years old.
78.
You have a birthday coming up in August.
Yeah.
You'll be 79. And you have been 58 years in this country.
58, right.
And you got here in July 22nd, 1947. But for the benefit of those folks who may not have seen the first program, it was quite an unusual and fascinating story. You hadn't seen your father for how many years?
18 years.
18 years. Well, how did that come about?
My father, he was here in the United States.
Came here very early.
He was in here early.
What year did he first come?
He first come in 1903.
1903. Came here to work.
To work. He worked in Clinton Dam. And then he worked in different places, constructions.
And he would go back and forth to Italy, earn money here, he'd go back and forth to Italy. And the Depression years came, and he worked here during the Depression years, but would he go back to Italy when he could?
He would.
He would.
If he could, but he couldn't because at that time, Italy was under the Mussolini regimes there.
So he, at a point, got stuck here.
He got stuck here.
He was stuck here.
Yeah.
And his wife and his children,
My mother and my brothers and sisters, we got stuck there too. He got stuck here and we got stuck in there.
Okay.
And he built a house over there too, in the meantime, 1926.
Okay, that's Depression, that's pre-Depression. 1929 is when the Depression, the stock market crash and so on. But in the 20s, and then the Depression came, and then World War II came.
Right.
And he is over here.
He's over here.
And the rest of the family's over there.
He's over there in Italy.
And you are how old at that time?
That time I was only, I think, 3 or 4 years old.
3 or 4 years old in Italy.
And I didn't see my father till 1947.
So a long time.
A big stretch.
And during the last program, and I strongly recommend to the LATV audience, if you haven't seen Land of Opportunity Part 1, you should see it because it focuses on Angelo's experiences, amazing experiences during World War II with the Nazi occupation in Italy, and then the Americans coming in and liberating Italy, and a great story. Wonderful story.
The
Amazing
Americans,
story.
Yeah,
we were, with the Germans in there.
in Italy.
In Italy.
In Italy, and when they came in, the Armistice Day there, the Germans took over Italy. And we were under the Mussolini regimes.
Armistice Day of World War I.
That was, in Italy.
Yes.
Between Italy and the British.
Yes, but that would have been the First World.
No, the Second World War.
Okay, so what happened? The
And-
Armistice Day when the war ended in,
And then, in Italy,
yeah,
the German occupied Italy.
yeah.
They took over. We no longer, the Italian army, it was all done. They
How long did
joined,
that take place for?
they took a place for it was in 1943, I think, 43. And then the Germans took over and they took the town,
Scano.
Scano, where we were born, and they made the headquarters, which at that time they had Castling, he was one of the field marshal, and he was stationed there because he was controlling casino,
Monte Cassino.
Monte Cassino, and all the region as far to the Adriatic and the Mediterranean Sea. There was like a parallel. He was controlling and everything. But he was stationed in Scano.
That's your hometown.
Right.
And Scano is located near,
75 miles south of Rome,
so kind of in the,
and on the knee, part of the knee.
okay, Italy.
And and he was a very, very, he spared the city, but he took all the men and he put them to work,
including young,
including the young and old, and
Yeah.
that mattered to him.
and you had some close calls. Your family had some close calls
Very,
lined
very
up.
close,
And,
yeah.
you were shot at. I remember you
Yeah.
were telling me you went down to the beautiful lake and.
Well, that time, see, that was when the Germans were retreat, and I find really an opportunity there. I was a strong swimmer, and the lake I used to swim. I learned in the lake. We had a farm there, and I grew up in the lake. Then we were with them. We were working with the horses, those Gleisdale's horses,
the big workhorses.
big ones. Yeah, they were pulling guns, but the Germans they were retreat because the Americans were coming
coming up from.
and they were gone. So now my brother-in-law, he was with the partisans up in the mountains in there, and we were stuck with them.
Right.
So I found an opportunity that night. We were watering the horses, go to the lake, get the water, for the horses. It started to get dark. I said, "This is my opportunity.
To get away from the Nazis.
Get away from these
Yeah.
guys." I just turned around, I look around, everything was clear. I just got over there and I make believe I was getting the water, and I put myself in the water, got underwater in the wind for quite a while, because I could hold the breath for quite a while. And I come up, all of a sudden I heard the shots. I heard a few shots coming, you can feel it. And I said, "Oh, come, can you see me in here?" There was the reflection in the moon.
Yeah, and you were.
There
right
was,
in
and I
the-
was right in the middle of
Yeah.
it. So took me just a little bit to figure it out. I was young. I was 16 years old. I don't know too much about it. Well, then, when I find out, I dive myself in the water. When I got to the water, I just hit to the left.
Right, you swam out of
I
the
swam
reflect-
out of it,
light.
the light.
Right.
And when I saw the light up there, and I went ashore. When I went ashore, see, of course, I know the hill with my eyes closed. And I ran up in those hills. They couldn't see me.
Yeah.
And I went up to see my brother-in-law, with all the partisans. They were up there in the hill.
The partisans were the group who were fighting the
They were
Germans.
Italian soldiers,
Right,
you know, but they don't want to fight with the Germans.
right,
But boy, were destroying a lot of things.
right,
You know, they destroyed communications.
right.
They saved a lot of bridges, a lot of roads.
So what happened once you saw your brother-in-law?
Oh, then I went up there, it was around midnight. I got up there and I told him, I said, the Germans will retreat. And
Because the Americans are coming.
the Americans, they're behind them, you
Yeah.
know. But there's a lot of mines in there, because we saw them put them in. We dug some holes ourselves.
Right,
And he said, oh, it's okay. Then they divided. They start running, one group going here, one group going there. And they start, you know, they save quite a bit. But they couldn't save it all. They were too close. When, you know, then I was with them. And I was doing the same, you know, the same thing they were doing,
right.
you know. And
Making it hard for the
Oh, yeah,
the
oh, yeah.
occupiers, for the
I was doing everything, you know. Then he said to my brother-in-law, you know, they come in another part below the valley, which was another, you know, part of the you know, like a dam, because they had a hydraulic power plant
plant.
there. And there was this, you know, there was some wires in there. And my brother-in-law said, you can swim. She said, you know, tonight, I want you to go over there, go cut all those wires. And I did.
The Germans needed the electricity.
No, everybody needs it, but
Right.
the Germans were going to blow the dam.
Oh,
See, and I got down there. When I got in, I got to the water. It was cold. That water was cold. But I didn't care. I resisted. I went in and I cut, you know, a lot of wires. Well, the Germans, they thought they had it made, you know. So when the group that started going, they had the charger. They go up there, they pull the charger.
Oh, I see.
Nothing happened.
oh, you cut the wires on the
And,
explosive charge.
yeah,
You were
done
gonna blow up.
the- you know, the
Oh,
one
okay, I
that
was
were
thinking
laid.
the electric wires. You cut it
No.
on the detonator.
The detonator.
Okay,
And when I caught him, you know, I swam back, and I went up there, and I was freezing, you know. And I told my brother-in-law, I said, I cut all I could see there. He said, you did good. You say, you know, we saved
The bridge?
you know, we saved the bridge, and we saved the dam.
The dam, okay.
He said, that's saved now.
Yeah.
They're gone.
that's
And
wonderful.
then they got another bridge a little below. We couldn't get to it.
Yeah,
It was too active, and it was too, the mountain, there was like a canyon. We couldn't get in through there. You saw them, Deb.
Yes. Yeah, I
You know,
do.
when we
I
went
do,
through
yeah.
there.
because you
Yes, I
took
do.
a number of trips
Yeah,
back to
you
Italy
know,
after.
I saw it.
1960. we went-
So you had all these,
This little experiences, you know.
all these, not little experiments, it's like in the movie, you know, this, you
I
went
know.
through all these things,
Yeah.
Exactly.
heroic things here, and putting your life on the line.
And
You, and again, to the audience who didn't see the first part of the program, the first Land of Opportunity Part 1, we recommend that you watch that so you can get an idea of Angelo's experiences during the war.
Right.
That's
But we
right.
want to get you to America because
yeah, then they come over here.
you came over here in 1947, and you had told us how you got on you came over with a troop ship,
Right.
and your experiences on the troop ship, and you were amazed at the food that was available because you didn't have a lot to eat while you were in Italy
No,
during the war
no.
years. During the war years, because the Germans had taken No, the occupiers have taken
they took
just about
everything
everything.
there. They cleaned it down.
So you would get in the chow line on the ship coming over to America?
Several times.
Several
He
times.
was
You were
basically
amazed?
the only one that ate.
You got into New York Harbor and you said that you were amazed by seeing all the automobiles, all the cars. Tell us a little bit about
I
that.
was flabbergasted to see them, the cars, and 4 lanes on the side and 4 lane on the other side, the Hudson River.
And the Statue of Liberty.
Statue of the Liberty right there.
There she was.
Ellis Island in here. Our ship was parked right in the front there.
And an amazing sight.
And we saw the cars. What amazed me, I couldn't see how can it be so many cars in here. Now, in Italy, you didn't see anything.
Just military vehicles.
Military
and
vehicles,
horse-drawn.
and there was 2 vehicles in Scano. There was a bus, and they used to run by wood.
They'd run the bus by wood.
Yeah, they had a tank in the back. They used to load it with wood, and they used to run the bus all day.
Steam.
There was some kind of
Must have had a steam engine that they make.
they must have made some kind of steam or
Right.
something, but it go by wood. Because there was no gasoline.
At the time. So.
And they had 1 car too. That was going by wood too.
And here you are in the United States now on the troop ship and getting ready to get off. And
To see all those, I
All
said,
of
"Oh my
those.
God!" I mean,
And when you saw the Statue of Liberty, what did you think of?
I couldn't believe it. It was so big, and and they told me, the guy there, he was explained to us, and he said that that's the Statue of the Liberty, and that was donated by the French, and everybody comes through here, they worship the statue.
it's so meaningful to them.
That's so mean.
Yeah.
They
still
call
is.
it the Statue of the Liberty.
It still is.
And I say, they name her the right name. Liberty.
Right.
And that's what it was. That was a liberty.
Freedom.
There was
which we
a
enjoy
freedom.
and we take so much for granted
Right,
here in this
and
country.
you can get over the things.
So in that crowd, you remember you told us the last time, your dad is in that crowd waiting for you. You hadn't seen him for
18 years.
18 years, and what an emotional experience that was. I know it was an emotional experience.
That was my emotional experience. The ship went in to the pier. I think it was a Pier 54, if I recall. I went in, the GIs they started going out. When was our turn to get out.
And the GIs, you came over on a troop ship, and
yeah.
there were a group of Italian citizens,
civilians
who came with the troops.
Right, there was a few
Right.
civilian, and we had to be separate.
Right.
With them. And the GIs went out,
First.
and then we remained. The civilians we started to go out, and there was like a corral, so we go out through there, because there were so many people. And then the custom guard come around, called my name. And I told him, say, here. And he said, come with me. And I said, now what do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I went with him, and he took me to my father.
For 8,
And
you hadn't seen for 18.
There was my cousin, John, which he picked me up in there, and his wife, and my father. And the God said, this is your father.
Wow.
Because they told me before that, they said, look over the little short man with the gray hair. He said, that's your father. When I was up there, Bob, there must have been 500 of them.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I said, now which one is my father?
Yeah.
And the guy said, this is your father.
Wow.
My father just embraced me, I embraced him, and I started crying.
I can imagine.
Oh, yeah.
My emotional, it was like the body drained.
And this was in 1947.
47,
And we
yes.
have a picture here of, this was taken in 1947.
Right.
It's this picture, and it was taken at the Chase
Yeah.
Murray Studio.
Murray Studios here in
Leominster.
Leominster.
Over here.
Yes.
And it's you and your dad.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
We were so proud of him, then when I told him, I said, "Pa, I will never go back to Italy."
You told
see-
Pa, I'll
No.
never go back to Italy,
No,
because
for whatever I seen it.
when you saw what was here in America,
Yeah.
Right, that first day.
that
he saw.
first day.
Yeah.
And I said, he said, "Son, not so soon." He said, so you haven't got to get out on the pier here. We're still in the pier.
In New York.
In New York.
Yeah, and then another thing that came impressed me in there. I saw an Indian. I never saw an Indian before.
American Indian.
An American Indian, he was all dressed. He had feathers,
Yeah,
His headdress and
Yeah.
with all full dress,
Yeah.
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 And I said, "Pa, so who's him?" So who's that? He said, "That's an Indian." He said, I explained to you later.
Yeah.
When we get in the car, I explain.
Yeah.
Okay. So then my cousin John, and we went. My cousin John, he said, "No, we took the Lincoln Tunnel."
The Lincoln Tunnel.
And he said to me, she said, "Angelo, this morning you was here." I said, "Oh no, I was there in the Statue of Liberty this morning." I said, "This is a tunnel." He said, "That's what I mean. He was up here, upstairs in here."
Oh,
I said, "Okay, can be." She said, "We're under the ocean, under the river."
Yeah.
Oh wow! I mean, like like your body, that feels emotion, like freezes, like
Yeah, you couldn't
completely.
believe it.
And I said to myself, I said, "Boy," I said, "this is something."
America is something. All the
And then we got out of there, and we got to the New York Harbor on the side. We started, hitting the road. We started to hit.
and you eventually you
We
got
started coming towards
Massachusetts.
and we got it to the American Parkway, which I never see a beautiful road like that. It was beautiful.
So all of these scenes
Oh,
in America, and,
I mean-
in a short time before you were in a little village in Italy,
I mean, everything was a shamble. I mean,
because the war, the devastation of the war in
Right.
Italy.
yeah,
You got to America. Your dad was very proud of you, and
Oh.
he showed you around the shops in Leominster.
oh,
He
then
took
we
you-
arrived in Leominster.
So tell us a little bit about that. Refresh our memory about
We
that.
we got over here in Leominster by around 5 o'clock at night, and we coming to Howard Street to Mrs. Louis and Rose LaPosta. My father was living with them.
On Howard Street.
Yeah, 36 Howard Street. And there was a feed there, royalty.
Right, they had this big
There
celebration.
was
They knew
like
to welcome
royalty
you.
in there.
Yeah,
And when I saw that, I said, "Oh my God!" I said,
they were welcoming you.
And my father, you could take the teeth out of his mouth, always with a big smile.
Yeah,
He was so proud, to see. And I mean,
he had his son. He hadn't seen him for 18
right.
years.
I mean, and then
Right.
been here,
Yeah,
and met all the family, and we ate and everything. Well, the first thing we did after we got through eating and everything, we took a walk over the Twins Cafe.
yeah,
He introduced me with Joe Calgaris.
yeah.
And when I got up there, Joe Calgaris, now I never met him, and he gave me a big hug, and so we met, and then I met what's the name, Karasha, Larry
Yeah,
Karasha, And I met quite a few of them there, because me and Larry, from that day on, we came in a very good friends.
Friends. So, and you were how old? You were just a young. You
I was just a 20 to go to 21.
21. Okay.
And Larry was asking me a lot of questions
Yeah.
about over there, and you
Yeah.
know, and then he said, "Well, we coming from such a place." I say, "Yeah, I've been there. I was there." And I said, "I was there." He said, "No, well, they were asking me a lot of questions." Then I met two, I don't know if you know, Joe Kramer.
No.
Joe Kramer, he was in during the war, he was a pilot. He was a major. And he was a pilot in the B-17. And he was stationed around there, and he had to bomb his own town
In Germany.
in Italy.
In Italy.
And
But he's got a Kramer. He's got a
bomb. He's a squadron commander.
He's got a German name though.
Kramer.
Kramer.
It's Italian. Coming from Corfino.
Kramer.
Yeah.
Really?
Wow, that's
I know,
that's
that's
You know,
surprising.
Kramer. I mean, that's
Kramer's
Italian name,
Italian.
and Corfino.
okay. It must
There's
be
a lot of them.
Okay, it must be
Spelling or
spelled. It
something?
must be spelled differently. Or
No, well, it probably sounds like German.
oh yeah,
but
I'm thinking
Kramer-
Kramer.
No, that's a
Right,
C.
yeah.
There was a C.
C.
Okay, so this was an Italian American
He was an Italian American.
who had to bomb his own
Yeah, and,
ancestors' town in Italy, which
Right.
was just
And he
thinking
had
of
to-
it as
Devastating.
He had to do it. He told me himself. He said that I had to do it. I had to give me the orders
yeah.
to do it. I said, but I didn't have no choice.
Now,
And
Dad, when you came here, you couldn't speak a word of English.
Oh, no.
So how were you communicating with these people?
They could speak Italian.
Okay, but then you started meeting,
Oh, then I started meeting the other guys after.
and how did you start to learn English?
Well, I started to pick them up because, my father, he's trying to push me just a little bit.
Okay.
This, I call him this and this and that, And see, like Larry Carrasco could speak Italian pretty good.
And as I commented
Yeah.
in the first program we did, I wish I could speak. You speak English very, very
Yeah.
well. I wish I could speak
Yeah.
Italian and I
English,
don't.
yeah.
I'm pretty much monolingual. I just speak English. You speak English very, very well.
Yeah,
and,
now, yes, not now.
and you've learned very,
But
very well.
then I couldn't speak a word in English.
You were learning the language.
Yeah.
You met a lot of friends. Your father. So you had 2 years here.
Yeah, with my father.
With your father.
Yeah,
And you had told me in the waiting room that you wanted to join the service.
yeah.
You wanted to go in the Navy, and you'd bring home papers to join the Navy, and your dad would say,
You won't
what?
sign the papers.
Well, why wouldn't he sign any of the papers? You wanted to volunteer. The war
Because
was over now, right?
the war was
The war was
over.
over, but you wanted to, because you had buddies and so on. You had
Yeah,
friends.
there was a lot of buddies I started to pick up, and as I go
Yeah.
along. Because the first few months, I stayed mainly with my father.
Yeah, got to
I went to school, and I stick with my father.
now night school
And, yeah,
To-
used to go to Mayor Gallagher.
to learn English and
pick up in
citizenship
English
and history and Yeah.
And how long did you go there for? Was it a year?
the school.
Yeah,
I went 3 years in the school.
3 years,
Yeah.
okay.
the night school for 3
Yeah.
years. You were leading up to citizenship.
Yeah, I was learning
Learning
how to become an American,
American citizen.
which I already was, but I wanted to get my own.
You're okay.
He was an American citizen
That's-
under his
under
father.
that
That's
father.
right, because of your father.
His father
You were already
sponsored
American
him.
citizen,
Yeah.
but you wanted to.
I want to
night
get my
school.
own.
Right.
And then when we were there, see, I went to school and I stayed with my father, mainly. But then, then I started to get kind of
Made friends. Made
shape away. I
buddies.
started to
Yeah.
make friends.
Right.
I was working like in the stand-up Pritzkoid, and like those guys, tonight, we go out, and well, at night we used to go out, And then I see the Perros. You know, it used to be Bob Perro. You know, he had a car, you know, a coupe.
Yeah, so you guys...
He used to give me a ride downtown, you know.
Yeah.
Or if he wasn't there, I used to take a bus. And I used to come downtown with my brother-in-law, and we used to watch the games, and then we used to go to the movies and walking here and walking there. I mean, you know, we started to get together.
So you made a lot of friends.
I made a lot of friends.
But your dad, during those 2 years, he didn't want to lose you. He didn't want, because he hadn't seen you for so long. He didn't want you to go into the service.
Then there was La Stella, Tony La Stella.
Yeah.
He was you know, he came from Italy. He could speak Italian.
Yeah.
And he helped me kind of run a little bit. And to make the things more interesting, you know, I always meet somebody who can speak Italian. You know, I mean, like the luck was with me all the time.
Right, so that you could communicate.
Yeah, if I get stuck, I'll always find somebody.
Now, Angelo, you said that we got those 2 years, 1947, and you're here with your dad, and you want to join, but he won't let you because he doesn't want to sign the papers. You said something a moment ago about you'd come uptown with the fellas and you'd watch the games.
Yeah.
Now, what do you mean by that?
We used to, you know, watch the baseball game.
Baseball games.
Baseball games.
Yeah, they used
Bob
to be
Sabatelli's
in the Sabatelli.
Oh, okay. It's because it's Salvatelli's appliance store, which people
He
who have
used
been
to
in
leave the
Lemons...
television
This
on.
was in the early days of television. We're
Yeah,
here in a state-of-the-art
47.
TV studio now, the
47,
LA TV.
And then 48.
Early days of television, 1947, 48.
Yeah.
Salvatelli's used to have a TV in the show in the
Right.
window
You
that
used
they
to
would
sell
leave
them.
on black and white television.
Oh, black and white,
It was a
yeah.
new thing to the
Oh, yes.
people, and crowds of people would gather and watch
Yeah.
the TV.
Yeah.
In the show. I remember going as a kid. Television was new, and going over to Bill's radio shop on Lancaster
Bill's
Street.
in Lancaster,
And he had chairs out, and
Yeah.
my mother took me over there, and we watched this
And-
thing called television.
Yeah,
It was
and
great.
Joe Calgaris, he put one of the television in a place that used to be packed. You know, they used to watch Milton Berle.
Milton Berle, yeah, all those early shows.
He used to come in on a Tuesday
yeah,
night.
yeah,
And, you know, then they used to watch the baseball games.
yeah,
And John, he used to be a Yankees fan.
yeah, in Red Sox territory.
Oh, and he used to bet with everybody. He was like a, you know, come on, like, you know.
Yeah.
This was at the Twins Cafe.
And the
that
Twins
he's-
Cafe, yeah.
Right.
So all these, that's going to trigger some memories among, for a certain age group in Leominster.
Right.
They'll remember
Right.
those things.
And-
I want to get into your, because I see you have your Korea veterans hat on,
Korea, yeah.
and you couldn't sign up for the Navy because your dad wouldn't let you.
No.
But yet, as we look at a picture over here, I see a picture of a young military man.
Yeah, that
That's
was,
you.
Yeah.
And you are in the United States Army uniform.
I was a draftee.
You were a draftee.
Yeah.
And I have here a picture. I don't know whether we can get this on, but I'm going to read the caption, and then I'll put it up near there, and maybe Jack can get it. This is a picture of a group of young men, and they are in Fitchburg, someplace in Fitchburg.
Local draft board.
37.
The old registry.
Lower.
The old registry of motor vehicle.
Old registry, I know where that, the old registry of
Right
motor
on Water
vehicles.
Street.
On Water Street, okay,
Right.
I know exactly where that is. It says, the caption to this, this must have been a newspaper photo. There will be no milling about tonight for the above group representing some of the 34 men inducted today by Draft Board 37, first from this area this year. At 7 o'clock this morning, a few minutes before departure for Boston, the Sentinel photographer caught the above informal group, grinning, smoking, GIs to be. It's their first taste of what Army men call sweating it out. But this evening at Fort Devens, the inductees will have some semblance of formation. That's a certainty. So this group of men, and you're all in civvies, you're all in civilian clothes.
Yeah, we're in civilian clothes.
And you were drafted. Now,
We were
today we
drafted.
don't have the draft. It's an
No.
all-volunteer army. But in those days, it was the draft.
There was
This
the draft,
was,
the open.
was Korea going on, or was it pre-Korea?
And no, they just started going on.
Just started.
1950 they started.
1950.
Yeah.
And that group of men,
Yeah.
some from Fitchburg, some from
from
Leominster,
We were the first one who got drafted.
you got drafted.
Yeah.
And that evening, you weren't coming back home.
Oh,
that
no.
evening, you were off to Devens, right?
We were going to, they took
Boston?
us to Boston shipyard.
And then
Navy shipyard.
Navy shipyard,
Then Fort Devens.
then Fort Devens, and you're in the Army now.
And you're in the Army with Uncle Sam.
And what did your dad say about that?
Well, then I wrote it to my father. And I said, Pa, I said, we got drafted. And, now I'm stationed in Fort Devens. And he replied in the letter, said, well, son, your wish came true.
Your wish came true.
You finally made it. And all I can say, I wish you a lot of luck. I said, send me the name, the barracks you are in, the number. And because he used to work in the Fort Devens too. He built some of those barracks.
At Fort Devens.
And he knew exactly the barracks I was in. He said, you're in such a barracks near the so-and-so. He knew everything. And I said, you're correct, Pa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right to a T.
Yeah.
That's what it
That's-
is. And that was my years and I started going to the Army.
In the Army. And you served in Korea for how
Yeah.
long? You were
Now, I was in Korea for 1 year, but I spent, the more time in Fort Devens.
Fort Devens training.
We start training. Then in Fort Devens, over there was a sergeant, and he used to come to Joe Calagaris. I know him over there in Joe Calagaris. So he was in the recruiting. He was a mess sergeant on the recruiting station. We were there, matter of fact, we were pulling KP. My first day in the Army, there was me, Gidio Bigelia, David DePoli, all in KP the first day in the Army. The Leominster boys pulling the KPs.
Kitchen patrol. Yeah.
And we were there, and the sergeant, he met me, he said, so what are you doing here? I said, I don't know. He said, hey, Uncle Sam, he came after me.
Yeah.
So he said, hey, that's good, Of course, nobody stays there.
No.
They go, every day they're shipping different groups,
Assigned to different.
and
Different
they're
places.
different places. And he said to me, he said, how would you like it to stay here?
At Devens.
In Devens. I said, I like it, And I said, so what do you mean, Sarge? And I said, that I can't get you in here, but I got a friend of mine. He said, I can have you assigned, to his outfit. There was the 247 combat team, over there.
At Devens.
And he said, he's a good
Devens.
friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I said, so you make a good cook in here. She said, and this guy, he needs a cook. And 2 weeks later, a week later, there was a group, there was assigned there. Norman Sylvia, he was assigned there too.
Okay, yeah.
We were assigned to this regimental combat team. So I got over there, and they, they give me the job as a cook. And he told his, the sergeant over there, he said, this guy in here is one of the best cook. And he took me, introduced me with the company commander. The company commander, he said, I'm going to send you to school. Because it's, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
I said, okay. And I went to school for a few hours. A few hours I was training. I was working in between.
So training.
To learn how to shoot the.
Right. Military training, and then cooking.
Learn how to.
Right.
Cook in the American way.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I was picking up the language pretty good. I was doing pretty good, and which my wife. See, I met my wife in here, and she taught me a lot. And if I would have made a mistake, she always correct me. And then we, I asked her to go out steady.
In the language, in other words, you had told me in the vestibule there, the waiting room, she helped you with
my English.
but she corrected you very lovingly. She didn't criticize you.
Right,
No.
right.
My wife, she was one of them girls with respect.
Mm-hmm.
She always respect me, and I always respect her.
Now, did you meet your wife before you went in the service?
Yes. Well, I met her while we were working the Standard Peroxide.
You were working at Standard
Yeah,
Peroxide,
with her brother,
whose name was
Clarence
Clarence.
Lemire.
Clarence Lemire. So
Yeah.
she was a Lemire girl.
She was a
Yes.
Lemire girl.
Yeah.
She was a Lemire
What was her
girl.
first name?
Lorraine.
Lorraine. Her first name is Lorraine.
Lorraine.
And so you met her, and
And we, then, we start, then we used to go out and here and there. And finally,
started dating
yeah,
eventually.
see, my father, he went back to Italy.
Yeah.
And when my father, he went back, I started to go out with Lorraine.
On a steady basis.
Steady
On a steady
basis.
base.
Right.
There was a
Social at first, but then
Yeah.
now
That's
then,
right.
then,
Right.
then
Now
steady.
they're
You started to
serious.
get
and she
fell in love
al-
with her.
Oh yes, I love her the first sight.
Love at first sight.
I love her the first day I saw her.
And then you
Just
then you proposed to her, and
yes, I
And-
proposed to her, and she accepted. And she gave me the first birthday party. I never had a birthday party in my life.
Over in Italy, and
She gave it to me the first birthday party.
you were how old when you had this first birthday
I
party?
was
In your 20s.
I was in the 20s. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was
That's kind
it
of
was
tough.
1950
Na-
when I went in the army.
Yeah,
1950, she gave me the
your
party.
first birthday party.
And which she invite all her friends,
Yeah.
they, and she, she was, I couldn't say it enough.
And you now, Angela, you and Lorraine married before you went. Now you
No.
after you came, when you came home from the service.
No, I got married while I was in the service.
While you were in the
yeah,
service.
he was in Fort Devens.
You were at Fort.
No, see, I
Okay,
was in
you were
Fort
at
Devens,
Fort
no.
Devens.
and
Yeah.
then they married September 1950.
September 1950. So
51.
you were at
That's right,
Fort
I'm
Devens,
sorry.
and you were part of your time at Fort Devens. You were getting the military training, and part of the time you were learning to cook.
To cook and everything.
Americans
And then I come home when we used to go,
On
come
leave
home,
and-
like almost every day.
Okay, because Devens is
He,
close.
he was one to cook too. He was from Tennessee.
Okay, this
And
gentleman.
we used to go out together.
And there's a little picture here
Yeah, I mean-
of you and
Steve,
in
it was Steve Gordon.
Steve Gordon, and you were. This was taken at Castellanos.
Oh,
which is
yes, right on here in
near
Castellano.
here. Many people know that studio.
Yeah, and
no
we
longer
used to
there,
come.
but
We used to come in here every day.
yeah, because you come back from
Because I
Devens
used to come
and
to
Air.
see Lorraine.
Shirley and Air, it's right
Yeah.
close, still
And
is.
then
Yeah,
we
right.
used to go out steady. Then when I was in the service up there, she used to come up to see me when we just went in every day, every Sunday.
And then
Yeah.
you got married, but you're in the service.
Yeah.
And I want to get you to Korea.
Right. That's our point here, Mr.
Okay.
Korea. We're
All
going
right,
to
now
Korea.
you went to Korea. You got shipped over to Korea.
Yeah.
Now, what did you do in Korea? You were there for a year.
I was there. I was a cook,
You were a cook.
and I was and I used to help them with the ambulance.
A medic,
I was
with
in
the
the
ambulance.
I was in the medical corps.
And the war was going on.
I was going on in full.
Full blast.
I was riding on the 38th parallel.
Which, for those in the audience, that the young members of the audience probably won't know what that refers to,
No.
but the people who lived through the 38th parallel
That's what I was.
of latitude.
That
And
was right.
that's still, I think,
Still there.
the demarcation line
Yeah.
between North and South Korea
It's
and
still
no
there.
man's land, and
That's
that
right.
situation still hasn't been resolved.
And then
officially.
see, that's when we went there, and how much time we got, Bob?
We still have some
Little
time.
time, okay.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Because see, what I wanted to say the most, we got married. I was stationed in Fort Dix then. See, then I got transferred. I was supposed to go to Trieste, Italy, and they never called me to go there. I also even went to interpreter school in Fort Dix.
Interpreter school,
Yes.
right? It's because you could speak English,
could speak English and Italian.
and Italian.
And also, they want to send me in an OCS school.
Officers Candidate School.
That's right. And I told the company commander, I said, sir, I said, no. I said, I don't even got a high school education. I said, I have no education. And she said, you a leader. I said, I prefer for you to go. I highly recommend you. I couldn't,
Yeah, you didn't want to.
I don't want to, because, Bob, I always had the inferiority complex.
Well, it doesn't
know-
show. You're doing very well.
I don't want to,
Yeah.
And I was coming home every day to come to see Lorraine. And just before I went in the Army, I was working at Cloyd's, and they gave me a
Cloyd's.
big party over there.
Yeah.
Oh, the biggest. And then downtown up here, when we used to come home,
And you were in the service. but
yeah,
you
we
come
were in the
visit.
service
Yeah.
in here. Now, I don't know if you remember, Leominster used to be like a Fort Devens. That place was packed with GIs.
Yes, I don't remember that, but I
That
I
was
know.
packed with GIs. The GIs were all over the place.
Right, because Devon's is close, and
That's right. Yeah.
on leave, and they'd come here. This is
Yeah.
one of the towns they'd come to.
And then, like I said, it was packed with GIs. And when there was one Indian, there was an Indian soldier. He was big. He was so big, tall, and husky, and he looked so mean, I mean, I know him before I even went in the Army. I used to see him. He used to go to the Blue Moon in the Plymouth Cafe there. He used to go Plymouth Cafe, have a drink. He used to go to the Blue Moon, have another drink. And he used to get so drunk. And those girls, like my wife, one of them, and the girlfriends, and many of her, they used to be afraid of him. And, I kind of was a leery myself. Now, when I went in the Army, Bob, he was in my outfit. He was the most kind man.
Nicest fella, yeah.
He was the nicest fellow
Yeah.
you could meet.
Right.
And I came home, I said, Lorraine, I said, guess what? He said, the Indian comes up here. You say, yeah. I said, he's mean. I said, no. I said, he's the most kind man. I said, he's so kind. I said, I introduced him to you guys. Oh no, we're afraid of him. I said, you watch me. And he used to come downtown, and then, you know, we used to be right up here. He used to go down the H&J.
Yeah.
Used to be a little diner.
Yeah.
We used to go up there and have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
After we come out of the movie,
Yeah.
we had a cup of coffee. This Indian comes by. He come over there, you know, because he saw me, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, he goes, they come to me, give me one arm
Yeah.
one arm around me.
Yeah.
And by golly, compared to him, I was a midget.
Yeah.
How true
Yeah.
when you get
Yeah,
to when you
no.
get to know when you get to
Totally.
know people, you know.
Yeah. And, you know, it was like a, you know, a click.
Yeah.
And my wife, she was at ease.
Okay.
Angela, I want to ask you. All right, so I know you had a lot of experiences in Korea, and many of them, you know, the war is awful, and we don't want to get into. You know, I know there are things that
Yeah.
you can't
Right.
and you don't want to share, but you had that experience. You came back. You came back to Leominster.
Yeah.
And this time you're going to raise a family.
Right.
Okay, and here is one. There's Debbie, and I know that you and your wife lost your son,
first child, yeah.
child. But then you had your first. Now Debbie is the youngest,
Yeah.
and there's another daughter,
Yeah, it's the oldest. Yeah.
the oldest, and her
Yeah.
name is
It's Anna Skoradic.
Anna
Skoradic.
Skoradic, and she lives in
She lives in Leominster.
Leominster. And you have grandchildren.
Yes.
Yes, Ian has 2 children,
Ann has 2 children.
and I have one son,
You have one son.
and he has 2 children.
Has 2. So you have great
I
grandchildren.
got
Yes.
2 great-grandchildren.
And so now your wife is still alive, but
Yeah.
you wanted to share with us that she has Alzheimer's disease.
Alzheimer's disease, yeah.
And tell us a little bit about you know, your involvement with that. And
Well, you know, she has the Alzheimer's. We detected was about 7 or 8 years
She
ago.
was diagnosed about 8
It
years
was
ago.
About 8 years
diagnosed
ago.
then, and we took care of her. And then I took care of myself in the apartment for a while. But then she started needing more
care,
medical
full-time care.
attention,
Right.
and I couldn't take care of her no more. And she, we had to place her in a rest home.
Which is a hard thing to do, but it's
Yeah.
I mean, if you had to do it, it's best
Yeah.
because there she gets the care that she needs, the
Yeah,
full-time
Right,
care.
absolutely.
the girls,
Right,
Yep.
they did a good job. They're looking around.
yeah.
They-
Good daughters did the
yeah.
best, you know.
They went over there.
difficult,
They,
but you have to do it,
Yeah,
you know.
you have to do it.
they found this place on the River Terrace in Lancaster, and we went up and see him. And at first, I felt a little bit against it.
Naturally.
Just I couldn't.
It's-
I couldn't see it to put her there.
Right,
Broke my heart.
yeah.
And that was my worst experience in there.
Yeah.
You know, it broke my heart to see her to be there. And we got separated. I'm home all alone. She's home
But I know your daughter visits you.
all the time.
Both Ann and
both
I
Ann,
and
both
very
daughters
good.
visit.
They always-
And I'm
Try.
sure you visit your mom.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I can
Yeah.
tell the family,
Yeah.
it's a very loving family, and we're near the end of the interview, Angelo. This is truly a success story, a wonderful story. You take
Yeah.
the first segment we did from your time in Italy, and you're tracing back to your dad's time here in America, and then right up to the present time, and you have a wonderful, loving family, and
Oh yes, thank God for that, Bob.
thank
It's
God.
Very.
And America has been a land
Is
of
an
opportunity for
opportunity.
you, and America is still a land of opportunity for us all, and for newcomers to America, and it has so much to do with our attitude. And you have a wonderful,
Yeah.
positive attitude towards life. An amazing story, an amazing gentleman.
Americans has been very good to me, Bob.
It has. Good
Yes.
to all of us. Angela, I want to thank you, and I want to thank Debbie.
You're welcome.
And keep writing that book.
I am. I'm working on it,
Okay,
Bob.
keep working
You'll be
on
the
that
first
book.
to know.
Okay, and I want to thank the folks here at the LATV studios, Kyle Pimerini, Jack Selly, Kevin Moran, everyone. I hope I didn't miss anybody in the background there in the other room. And I also, as always, want to thank the LATV viewing audience for visiting us on Neighborhood Snapshot. Thank you very much.